L. Graham's family life has been the subject of a lot of talk, but now his wife's news has revealed the sad truth. Millions of people have always looked up to the Grahams as examples of faith and strength, but will this really be the test that they need to pass? Let's look at the specifics and see what she told everyone. His life started in Asheville, North Carolina, on July 14, 1952, and his wife Ruth Bell Graham had 5 children. He was the 4th. The family lived in the Appalachian region in a wood cabin. It was a peaceful and natural place to be. Franklin Graham, who was the son of the famous preacher Billy Graham, didn't always do what his dad did. In fact, when he was young, he had a rough and wild time. Franklin, on the other hand, didn't want to become a preacher or a spiritual leader like his father. At times, people thought he was a bad boy because he wasn't always acting like the son of a well-known preacher. Franklin had a tough childhood because his father was so famous. Billy Graham went on a lot of speaking trips and was sometimes away from home for long periods of time. His name was well known and he spoke to big groups of people all over the world and even gave advice to U.S. presidents. Franklin and his brothers had to show everyone their dad, which could be hard on family life at times. Franklin once said he was afraid that if he became a priest, people would always compare him to his father. He didn't start following a spiritual path right away because he was afraid of being judged or found wanting because he was Billy Graham's son. Franklin went his own way for years. Instead, he made decisions that his family and father didn't agree with. Franklin felt like he was always on the edge of things, and he loved doing things outside like fishing and shooting. From a very young age, he had a lot of energy and liked to get into trouble, which many people said came from his mother, Ruth. Ruth, his mother, was known for being fun, and she wasn't afraid to get her kids to behave in creative ways. Remember a time when his mom tried to wake him up early for school? Franklin started locking his door at night so she wouldn't wake him up in the morning. Ruth then started putting fireworks under his door to make sure he woke up on time. They turned it into a game, which showed how his mother's sense of fun and creativity had shaped him. Franklin's spirit of mischief turned into resistance as he got older. He did not do what was expected of him. He began what he later called living the fast life. Some of these things were smoking, drinking, and getting into fights. He even smoked some pot. The son of a preacher was especially shocking for this. What could have made him do this? His family was worried about him because of how he was acting, especially since his father was a famous preacher. Franklin was told to go to Stony Brook, that it would help him focus and settle down. He chose a well-known Christian boarding school on Long Island, New York, but he had a hard time getting used to the school's rules and discipline, and he dropped out in the end. Also, guess what? It didn't end there for him. He went to Laterno College in Longview, Texas, after leaving Stony Brook, but didn't stay there for long either. Franklin was kicked out of school for staying out late with a female friend, a very important rule at the time. It was hard for him to fit in at these strict places because he made bad decisions and didn't follow the rules, and he kept putting himself apart from the standards that came with being Billy Graham's son. Franklin had a hard time finding his place, even though his family tried to help him. When he was younger, he did a lot of dangerous things and made choices that could have let his family down. Franklin got his associate degree from Montreat Anderson College, which is now called Montreat College, in 1974. In the same year, his life took a big change. He had what he calls a new birth, a big change in himself that made his faith stronger and gave him a new way to follow. It all began in 1974 on a trip to Switzerland. Billy Graham, his dad, had a chance to have a serious conversation with him about the way his life was going. Billy could tell his son was having a hard time and knew he had to make some big decisions about his future. He looked Franklin in the eye and told him that he and Franklin's mother could tell that Franklin was having trouble deciding what to do with his life. Franklin would have to help himself. These words hurt Franklin a lot. They stuck with him and made him think about his future. Back then, he was going through Europe and often had a scotch bottle with him. It wasn't easy for him to think about or follow through with making changes in his life. But what his father said to him stuck with him and kept playing over and over in his mind, even as he continued to drift. After that, something very bad happened. Franklin was in a hotel in Jerusalem one night and was by himself. He had time to think. He was 22 years old. He didn't go through a bar like he usually did. He stayed in his room. He opened the Bible and began to read the Gospel of John. It was the first book he read. It is in the New Testament, and it tells about Jesus' life and lessons. In chapter 3, Jesus tells a man named Nicodemus that he needs to be born again in order to enter the kingdom of God. Franklin saw more in this story than just Nicodemus. For the first time, it was clear to him that this message was also meant for him. He understood that he, Franklin Graham, needed to be born again in order to start over and truly follow his faith. It was a powerful moment of understanding that he wrote about in his 1995 autobiography Rebel with a Cause. Finally comfortable being a Graham, Franklin's life changed after that night. Instead of rebelling, he started a new life that would bring him closer to his beliefs and to the things his father had left behind. Franklin's path to becoming a teacher and leader began with this event. Still, it all began with a night in a hotel room by himself, with a Bible and a desire for more in his life. Franklin Graham earned a Bachelor of Arts degree from Appalachian State University in 1978. He had accomplished something very important. This was also the time of another important event that would change his life for the rest of it. Franklin met Bob Pierce when he was in his early 20s. Pierce is the founder of Samaritan's Purse, a Christian group that helps people in need all over the world. Pierce asked Franklin to go on a mission trip to Asia for 6 weeks. Franklin's life would change because of this trip. As part of this charity trip, Franklin saw how hard life was for people in some of the world's poorest places. He saw how war, famine, disease, poverty, and natural disasters changed societies.